Guys, the USMNT are the real deal. And they just won their group stage and won the first two games of the group stage the first time ever in the history of their participation in the World Cup. The United States are breaking the norms that we are used to seeing them when it comes to their performance at the World Cup. And I feel like the sky's the limit. All bets are off. And if you saw last week, I made a video talking about how the United States are the dark horse for the 2026 World Cup. And I'm going to double down on that today and explain what's going on with the national team, why I think they're in such a good position, and who they will likely face in the round of 32, round of 16, quarterfinals, and maybe even the semifinals if we're lucky enough to get there, right? So let's get into this and talk about the United States and how we got here and how we were able to win the group stage so early on. Hey, real quick, if you guys haven't already, make sure you hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're growing like crazy. The World Cup is among us, and we have a lot of content you guys are not going to want to miss. So also make sure you guys hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of our videos. So as you guys know, the first match of the group, we played Paraguay. And this was going to be a tough game. People were wanting to see what we could do in a big game. How are we going to come out? Was Paraguay going to give us a run for our money? And we all know we dominated them 4-1. And I have never seen the United States play in a meaningful game like that before. And we talked about that, right? And a lot of people are trying to downplay and say, oh, but Paraguay isn't a good team. That was a fluke. They're not good. The United States will get thrashed as soon as they play a team that's of better quality. Wait till they play Australia. So that's what they were saying. That was the narrative we heard right after that game. Well, then we watched Australia play Turkey, right? And they beat Turkey 2-0. Turkey got bullied. They were uncomfortable. Australia just made them play out of their comfort zone. And Australia looked like they could also be a team that could compete for the group after that performance from what many people consider to be the favorite of our group, right? Turkey. They were the betting favorites to win the group. So then the United States go into this game against Australia. And there is a lot of questions, right? Australia gets that surprising win. Australia looks very good. Australia is a very gritty team. And the United States, are they going to be able to live up to the expectations? Are they going to be able to repeat what we saw in that first match against Paraguay? Is Christian Pulisic going to play, right? That was another big thing. He had the calf injury. Was he going to play? And if he wasn't going to play, were they going to be able to win this match? All these questions looming. And then they go from LA, SoFi. Now they're playing at Seattle for the first time in 10 years. And the United States were able to beat Australia 2-0 even without Christian Pulisic, which I thought they would be able to, but they were able to beat them, and they looked very comfortable doing it. And I think that Australia looked very uncomfortable the entire match. So the United States were able to do something that I think is very important for a team that is trying to win the World Cup, right? Which you guys will all say, well, there's no chance they're going to the World Cup. We don't know. Like, I'm not saying they're going to, but I'm not saying they're not going to. But one of the core things for a team that's trying to win the World Cup is, can you win in different ways, right? In the first game, we saw an absolute blitz of scoring. We saw 4 goals. Maybe it could have been 5 goals. In this game, we saw a clean sheet for the first time in a while. We had an own goal, which helped us out. That's our second own goal in a row in back-to-back games. We saw Alex Freeman obviously score off of that rebounded shot, I think, from Serginho Dest. But we found a way to score, and we did it without Pulisic. We played with 2 strikers up top with Pepe and Balogun. That is a key trait, is finding a way to win in different ways. Don't be one-dimensional. That is what was so impressive for this game for me. And obviously, we saw some concerns in the second half with the United States. Australia was throwing the kitchen sink at us, but we never folded and conceded, which we didn't look good. We did not look good in the second half, but we didn't concede a goal, and we kept that clean sheet. So even through adversity, even with players being out, we proved that we were able to hold on and win that game, and I think that is very important. So that's something that I think that you have to take into account for when you're talking about the USMNT. Well, then USMNT guaranteed to make it out of the group after that win, right? 6 points, guaranteed to get out of the group. All they needed to do was Turkey to either draw or lose to Paraguay. And this was going to be another good test because we destroyed Paraguay. And Turkey obviously has all these talented players. Their first World Cup in 24 years. How are they going to respond after losing to Australia? Well, they had a goal scored on them in the first like 3 minutes of the game. Miguel Almiron had a red card. I think it was like 20 something minutes in there because he whispered something with his mouth covered, which is crazy. Got a red card. They're out of the game, and they just struggled too. Turkey dominated possession, but they could not score or finish any chances in this match. And Turkey got grouped. Turkey got grouped, which this was, I mentioned earlier at the top of the episode, this was the favorite to win the group stage. You know, if you'd asked me, and if you did ask me 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, I would say, you know, the United States are very good. They're comparable talent-wise to any team in this group, or better, except maybe Turkey. Turkey's the one that's like super close. I would maybe give the nod to Turkey. If you asked me 3 weeks ago, I'd give maybe the nod to Turkey, but I think the United States have a chance, right? I knew they were at least going to finish top 2, but I think they had a chance to maybe win it. I never thought that Turkey would get grouped, eliminated after 2 matches. And then on top of it, Paraguay, the team we absolutely destroyed 4-1, is the team that knocked them out. So Paraguay now has a chance to maybe make it to the round of 32. I don't know if they're going to, but they have a chance. So this is unheard of. This is uncharted waters for the United States because we're just not used to doing this. We have never had 2 wins in a group stage ever. Ever. I think the best result we ever had was 1 win and 2 draws. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's the best result we've ever had in a group stage in the existence of the World Cup. So to have 2 wins already in the first 2 matches, like, we don't even know what to do. We've never been in this position before, right? This is, like I said, uncharted waters. So that's why I say breaking the norms and all the things we're watching kind of puts us in not no man's land, but all bets are off. Like, there's just, you cannot go by historical norms when it comes to this World Cup, or maybe you can because the home country or the host always performs well. But when it comes to the United States, this is just a different team. And I mentioned this earlier about the Australia game. I mean, doing it without Christian Pulisic is very impressive. I mean, he is clearly our best player. Maybe tied with Balogun, it's close, right? But he is our best player. And when he gets back healthy, I think that really the skies are the limit. And this is just shaping up to be such a great World Cup for the United States. And that's why I want to talk about who we could play next when it comes to the the round 32, round 16. So as it stands right now in the round of 32, the most likely teams we could play would be Bosnia, which I feel really good about, Algeria, feel good about, and Qatar, really feel good about. Which, if we win this would be our first knockout stage win since 2002, when Bruce Arena beat Portugal. Or no, I'm sorry, it was Mexico. Beat Mexico in 2002. And then the round of 16, we have most likely, now things can change, but it's most likely we're going to play Belgium, right? And Belgium's a team that beat us in 2014. We all know Tim Howard's historic performance against them, 16 saves. I think today's still a World Cup record, although it was close to being broken today with 15 saves. But that would be most likely our round 16 opponent. And I'm not scared of Belgium, guys. I'm not afraid of Belgium. I think we have a very good chance of competing with Belgium and shocking the world, because it would be shocking the world if we beat Belgium. Not to me, but it would be shocking everyone else. And I think we could beat Belgium. I think we could beat them. I think that we lost to them in our friendlies in March, but I think we could very well beat them because we've got this crazy momentum. And I just feel like like I said, the historical norms are out the window. And before we get to the quarterfinals, right? Because we'll get to that in a second. People are starting to believe in us, right? People are starting. Rebecca Lowe asked Zlatan Ibrahimovic, yes or no, 1-word response. Can the United States win the World Cup? And we know how Zlatan is. There's the commercial of him joking about the United States win the World Cup, and he said, no, that doesn't feel right. No, they can't. He said yes. He said yes. I think people are starting to believe in this team just because of how they are playing as a group. And momentum is just such a hell of a thing, guys. When you have it, anything can happen. And I've never seen the United States hotter than they are right now. So I think that they could beat Belgium. I think they could. Why couldn't we? I think we're just as good as they are. I really believe that. I think we could. And that would put us in the quarterfinals. That means we would win 2 knockout games, make it to the quarterfinals for the first time since 2002 when the team was coached under Bruce Arena. And then at that point, that's when we're going to have to play someone really good. I mean, we could be playing a France, a Germany, a Netherlands. I even think, no, I'm sorry. That's the semifinals. We play Spain, Colombia, or Croatia. Spain, Spain has looked not that great, guys. Honestly, I'd like to see how they do the rest of their group, but they look vulnerable. Colombia, I think we could beat Colombia. Now, I'm probably going to get flack for that, but why could we not beat Colombia? Why couldn't we? I think we could beat Colombia for sure. And Croatia, I think we could beat them too. So if we were to draw one of them in the quarterfinals, I think we're going to the semis. I think we're going to the semis. And I know people are saying I'm getting ahead of myself and that I'm being way too overambitious, but I'm just going off of what I'm watching now, right? I'm going off of what I'm watching now and how the team is playing. The team is playing the best collective ball I've ever seen the national team play. There literally was not a single player in the last 2 games who started who had a bad game. They all played good together. All of them. Every single player in the starting 11 played good. Every one of them. When's the last time we could say that for the U.S. men's national team? Now, is someone due for a bad game? I mean, it's possible, but they have so much confidence, which is key for a tournament like this. And they're really starting to settle in and come into their own. So if we get Colombia or Croatia, I'm picking us to go to the semifinals. Now, when we go to the semifinals, I got ahead of myself earlier, but we could play France, Germany, or Netherlands. If we can play Germany or the Netherlands in the semifinals, then we really have a chance of making it to the final. France, makes me nervous because they just got so many damn good players. That one's going to be tough to do. I'm just being honest. That's as much as how good we look. We do have some limitations possibly, but if we could draw a Germany, I mean, do you see how they looked against Ivory Coast? They look vulnerable. Netherlands don't scare me. They had the draw against Japan. I think we could beat either one of these teams and possibly make it to a final. Now, if we play Argentina, Portugal, Brazil, or England, hey, everyone, quick word from our sponsor, FanDuel. If you're into soccer like I am, you already know how exciting La Liga, the Premier League, and MLS matches can get. With FanDuel, you can make it even more fun by placing bets on your favorite teams and matches across all 3 leagues. Whether it's a Premier League showdown, a La Liga thriller, or an MLS game with your local club, FanDuel makes it easy and exciting to bet on what you watch. Just remember, you have to be 21 years or older to play. Please bet responsibly and only if you're of legal age and in a state where it's allowed. Download the FanDuel app or head over to FanDuel.com, sign up, and get in on the action. Thanks for supporting the channel through FanDuel. I'm a little nervous, but if it comes down to one game, guys, I mean, what if England has to play Mexico at Estadio Azteca? I don't know if they can win that. I don't know if they're going to win that game. That could be a close game. So this is just possibilities. I just want to talk about this because the United States are in just such a good position right now. They have done something that a lot of people didn't think were possible. And I know people are going to downplay this. I'm excited about it. I'm curious also real quick if you guys are excited. Did you expect us to win the group stage? Did you expect us to win it this early? I mean, it's pretty cool that now this Turkey game is essentially going to be a friendly. We get to rest some of our guys, and how many teams get that luxury? That's awesome to be able to have a rest game in the 3rd match of the group stage because you've already clinched it. I mean, this is awesome, And I also want to give some props to Mauricio Pochettino. Mauricio Pochettino, he deserves a lot of credit right now, and we got to see what job he finishes, like how everything pans out at the end. But Mauricio Pochettino deserves a lot of flowers because a lot of people, including myself and some of my friends who cover the national team too, were very skeptical based on some of the things we saw before the World Cup. The experimentation, some of the call-ups he's had was alarming, right? But he has proven that he knows what he's doing. He's in full control, and he's got this team believing. And he's now tied for the most World Cup wins of any coach in USMNT history already. And he's only played 2 games. 2 games to tie the record. 2 games to tie the record for most wins at a World Cup for the United States. That's just sad. Honestly, it's sad. But it's a good time to be a U.S. men's national team fan. And I hope to God we keep him after this cycle. I want to see him have a full 4 years. Maybe we can do that with what we're doing right now. Maybe he'll be bought in and want to come back. But I just wanted to make this because USMNT are absolutely roaring right now. We're sky high, and you all should be excited if you're a U.S. men's national team fan, because for me, most excited I've been since 2014. Not really a close second, and I just can't wait to see what happens. And hopefully, we make history, guys. Maybe we'll make the World Cup. Maybe we won't. But I'm excited to see what happens. If you guys enjoy this video, make sure you give us a like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that little bell notification so you never miss a video. Until next time, guys, USMNT moves out.